My 34 male, wife 32, and I had our first baby today. We were in the delivery room and all was going well. I was holding her hand and trying my best to be supportive. She was in pre-labor and was experiencing irregular contractions that she said weren't painful yet. I told her how much I loved her and that she was doing great, but made sure not to talk too much either. Suddenly, my wife tells me to please get out. I asked her what happened, and she said she doesn't want me there. I stand there in surprise for several seconds, after which the midwife tells me to get out, or she'll call security. I feel humiliated. Not only was I banned abruptly from watching my child's birth, but it was under the threat of force. Throughout our marriage, I've suspected that my wife wouldn't be with me if it weren't for my job and family background. Her eyes don't light up when I come home from work. I start our long hugs and she ends them early. Her eyes wonder when I'm talking to her. I don't think she loves me as much as I love her. I'm not accusing her of being a gold digger. She may love me on some level, but I don't know if she's ever been in love with me. If I died tomorrow, I don't know if it would take her very long to move on. I live in a state where the right to an elective share is 25% of separate property. We don't have a prenup, so this means that my wife has a right to at least 25% of my separate property if I die, even if I were to disinherit her in my will. I've decided to will her 30% of my separate property, which was previously 100%, and 100% of our communal property if I die. The rest of my separate property, including income-producing assets and heirlooms, go to my children and other family members. Am I the idiot for quietly changing my will without telling my wife? You are the idiot. You're having a baby today, and you're typing this and changing your will? Your wife is still bleeding, and you're having a tantrum about why doesn't she love me? All because she dared change her mind about having you in the room when she felt the excruciating pain of having a baby tearing apart her insides. And you have the freaking balls to say you love her? What a joke. You knew your vibes in the delivery room were not Gucci, and for that, you're out of my will. Yeah, sure, dude. That's gonna show her. In 50 plus years when you die, she'll get nothing. I made my child's father leave the room. I didn't want him to see me change my pee bag. Did I tell him at that time? No. Why? Because I was in labor that lasted 29 hours. Childbirth is complicated and can be messy. A common is for the mother to pass her bowels during contractions, something your wife might have done and not wanted you around for. She did it because she was vulnerable and emotional. I think he got his little feelings hurt and then started down the "she never really loved me, boo-hoo" rabbit hole. It's much easier to talk to your wife. Not to mention, he basically believes his wife wouldn't be with him if it wasn't for his job. I'm not calling her a gold digger, but this dude is spending time as a new father, rewriting his will to punish his wife for an in-the-moment reaction to a traumatic medical experience. What an idiot. Homeboy didn't even wait a whole day to think about things before punishing her in the future. He's justifying it to himself by saying, she doesn't love me in equal measure because she breaks eye contact and doesn't hug me for as long as I'd like. Wow, it's amazing that OP has the mental bandwidth to strategize like this on the day his first baby was born. Extremely petty and self-absorbed. Makes me wonder if he's on a completely different planet than his wife in general. It sounds like she was well within her right to demand space from him so she could focus on birthing a human. Yikes! My son Dawson is in the 6th grade and has been rather anxious. He has to give a victim impact statement and has been preparing for it all week. He's trying to keep it together and has been sleeping in my bed for months. He has an oral report due on Friday for his social studies class, and obviously he can't do it because he has to be in court. I spoke to his teacher, Miss T, and said he has an appointment on Friday that he can't miss, and asked if he could possibly do this report on Monday. She asked why he couldn't do it on Thursday, and I said that it was a totally fair question, but something's going on with him and he's emotionally distraught. I don't want him breaking down in class and being made fun of. She said that was not a good excuse to punt an oral exam, because Dawson has the jitters. I said it's way more than that. She said he could give his oral report on Thursday or Friday or take a 0. I said I understood, and he'll take a 0. Your class isn't important in the grand scheme of things anyway. My son's emotional health is way more important. She was surprised that I said to give him a 0 because I'm a very involved dad. She told me to be upfront with her about what was going on, and I said I'm not telling you anymore. Later, I got a call from the vice principal, who said that I had a hostile conversation with Mrs. T and requested that she give my son a 0. I said that's not really accurate. I told him off the record that my son has to give a victim impact statement on Friday. He's a mess. He quickly said, by all means, let him stay home tomorrow and Friday. He'd work something out with his teachers. I said I did not want anyone to know his business. He assured me he wouldn't give any reason. I got an email from Mrs. T, who said she wished I'd been more open about what was happening because she cares about Dawson. She's worried about him now. I responded that I didn't tell her details because you, and especially your son, he's in the same grade as Dawson, are gossip queens, and I don't trust you. She told me that what I said was very hurtful. I said, then don't ask and don't fish for information. Edit. The VP did not disclose why my son is out tomorrow and Friday. He said it was an approved absence and to send makeup work home today. Only Blabbermouth responded and fished for details after getting the email. Not the idiot. The teacher was digging into your personal life, and then she tried to weaponize your kid's grade. If you trust the principal enough to say that he didn't tell her the reasons, then she went out of her way to find something you were trying to keep private. She should have just lived with, it's something serious, but we don't want to go into the details right now. Even if she weren't a blabbermouth, she's not entitled to know why your son will be absent, and it's her professional responsibility to take you at your word that it's a legitimate absence, especially since you don't make a habit of demanding he be excused from assignments. Exactly. Teachers don't need to know everything about their students. If a parent has made a reasonable request and it costs the teacher nothing to accommodate, why else make this threat if not to get more info out of OP and abuse her power? And then to go to the VP to tell on OP? For what purpose other than to retaliate because OP didn't give her the info she wanted to gossip about? You are the idiot. All you had to tell the teacher was that your son had to be in court for something on Friday and was anxious about it and knew he wouldn't be up to his best to do his oral report. You didn't have to explain why he's at court. You can't expect teachers to do what you want without them having some of the info. Teachers aren't mind readers, and with the crap parents they deal with sometimes, they don't know if it's true or just an attempt to get out of work. I've been married to Tom for 4 years, and we dated for 18 months before that. Tom has a young grammar school-age daughter, Evie, with his ex-fiancée, Diana. I've always been involved in Evie's life. I stayed home from when she was 2 until she started kindergarten, so she wouldn't have to spend all day in daycare. I'm the troop leader for her Girl Scouts, and I coached soccer and t-ball for the 1 year she was interested in sports. I only work part-time, and I'm always the one who stays home when she's sick or school is closed. Evie's like a daughter to me. Diana and I got along until Evie started to call me mommy 2 years ago. I didn't ask her to do this, and when Tom and I asked her about it, she said she loved me and she wanted me to be her mommy too. After that, Diana insisted that Evie be in daycare 10 to 12 hours a day so she wouldn't be home with me all day. Tom wouldn't put her in daycare, but Diana found one that would take her every other week and started her there immediately. Then she refused to let me talk to Evie at night. She used to call me before she put Evie to bed because I was the only person who could sing her nighttime song right. But somehow it was my fault that Evie was crying at night and refusing to sleep. Then she stopped letting me talk to Evie at all on her weeks. Evie was a mess when Diana stopped letting her have any contact with me and barely let her talk to her dad on her weeks. She developed pretty severe separation anxiety from me and Tom and would only eat or sleep if we were holding her. Daycare was also very rough for her, and it was so bad that someone there called CPS on Diana. We got a child psychologist for Evie and managed to get primary custody. Diana has her every other weekend. Even though Diana doesn't have custody, we still make sure she's as involved in Evie's life as possible. They FaceTime a few times a week, and if Evie misses Diana, we try to set up a time to meet at the park or go out for ice cream. Evie recently started ballet and just had her recital last weekend. Diana made it very clear that I couldn't go because if I were there, she'd leave, and she wasn't missing her daughter's first dance recital. Tom sided with her this time and told me to stay home and that he'd send me pictures. I still went because Evie wanted me to be there, and I wasn't going to lie to her and take the fall when she wanted to know why I wasn't there. Diana got there early because she volunteered to help with hair and makeup, so Evie already knew she was there. Diana came out and saw me sitting with Tom, and she told me I needed to go. I told her Evie would be sad if I didn't show up, and even more upset when she found out I didn't come because her mom didn't want me there. Diana left after saying a few choice words and missed the entire thing. When Evie asked about it, I told her Diana wasn't feeling well. She was okay with that answer and seemed to forget about it after we took her out to eat and bought her a new toy to celebrate. She had just gotten back from her weekend with Diana, and the first thing she said was that Diana told her I made her leave and that she wasn't sick. Tom and I ended up telling her the truth, and now she's so upset. I want to know if I was the idiot for going to the recital. Not the idiot. It's a real shame that Diana's harming her relationship with Evie out of hurtful spite. Hopefully she realizes what she's doing and who's suffering for it before permanent damage is done to that relationship. Diana is estranging herself from her child, which is a spectacular backfire. Diana's ridiculous. You can't come because I'll leave? And I'm not missing my daughter's recital? Well, if only Diana had control over whether or not she missed the recital. She could have stayed and sat far away from Tom and OP. Diana's pushing the daughter closer to OP, what she doesn't want, with her actions. She's not even thinking about Evie's feelings. Diana's straight up harming Evie, not just her relationship with her. Diana's jealousy is seriously harming her daughter's mental state. The young girl shouldn't have to be involved in this small-time high school drama. OP, you and your husband need to revisit the court and document this incident. Diana's now overly using emotional manipulation on Evie. This is not okay. Go to court for full custody, genuinely. My stepdaughter, 20, is pregnant and due in January. My husband and I originally said we would buy the pushchair for her when she was a bit further along, as she's high risk and has had several losses, and we didn't want it to linger as a reminder if the pregnancy failed. She picked the pushchair she wanted, and we said we'd order it for her this month. A couple of weeks ago, I mentioned the pram to her, and she asked if her nan had spoken to us about it. I said no and asked what she meant. She then said that she'd been shopping with her nan and had found another pram she wanted. The pram was almost precisely the same, but was 500 pounds more than the one she told us she wanted from us. I told her that we couldn't afford to spend that much on the pram, and she said that her nan and granddad were putting 100 pounds, and the nan on her father's side was putting 100 pounds towards it, and she wanted us to pay the rest. I spoke to my husband following this conversation with her, and he said we couldn't afford it, and said he thought we were buying it outright and not just contributing. We've now told her we're not buying that pram for her, as we can't afford the amount she wants us to pay, and that the original plan was for us to buy the one she originally chose outright and not just contribute to it. Even with 200 pounds towards it, we still can't afford it. She's now called us unreasonable and said we aren't being fair. Am I the idiot? Edit. For those who don't know the British pushchair and pram, they mean a stroller. The reason we won't give her the money towards it, and we were going to buy it outright ourselves on our card, is because she has a habit of spending the money she's given on things not related to what she asked for or needs. She's previously been given money for food when she doesn't have any, and spent it on cigarettes and alcohol. Not the idiot. If you can't afford it, you can't afford it. Frankly, if she's 20 and isn't on solid financial ground in the first place, then an expensive pram probably shouldn't be a purchase at all. Give her the amount you plan to spend on the original pram and then she can decide how to combine that with the other contributions to choose something. She's 20 and has had several losses. Accidents happen, but multiple accidents by 20? Dang. The birds and the bees and that money don't grow on trees. You have bills to pay and a mouth to feed, and there's nothing in the world for free. Yes, what the heck? If she's only 20 and on shaky financial ground, she shouldn't be trying for a baby. What is wrong with people? I feel bad for your grandchild. No amount of assistance will save them from an incompetent mother. Yeah, she found another one that's 500 more. I had a very good quality one that lasted several kids, and it was only 200 total. This woman is off her rocker. I agree with the others who suggest giving your stepdaughter the amount of money you were willing and able to pay for the original pram, or purchase another needed baby item that cost about the same amount. I'm sorry that your stepdaughter seems like a very entitled brat, because that doesn't bode well for her entry into motherhood. My mother-in-law has her birthday on the 27th of December and always makes a massive fuss that we can't mention Christmas on the 27th, and it's just got to be about her birthday. Decorations, etc., all have to come down, and she won't ask the kids what they got for Christmas or anything about Christmas on that day. Last year, I got a large Christmas bonus. I wanted to get everybody something lovely. She really likes designer bags, so I got her one she's always wanted, which was more than 4 times the cost of everyone else's gift. So to justify it, I needed it to be a Christmas/birthday gift. On Christmas Day last year, I gave her the wrapped gift and explained that it was a joint Christmas and birthday gift, and she would understand why when she opened it. Well, she refused to open it. She put it to the side and said, "I'll open it on my birthday. Otherwise, I'll have nothing to open, will I?" I was due to work on the 27th, so I wouldn't be at her birthday, and said I'd really like to see her open it as it's a special gift. She said, "You know how I feel about my birthday being so close to Christmas and how awful it is for me, and you've done this to spoil Christmas for me." She then gave me the gift back and stormed off. She spent the rest of the afternoon shut in her room sobbing, loudly. Her husband told me to go and get her something else for her birthday, but I said no. Maybe I'm the idiot here. I told my husband I was done with doing the present shopping for her, and he could do it from now on. He hasn't gotten her anything yet for this year, for either Christmas or her birthday, and I'm not going to help choose anything. As I'm typing this, I feel like I'm probably the idiot, as I just don't think she deserves anything for acting the way she did. But my husband is rubbish at gifting. So am I the idiot for refusing to help and knowing she'll probably end up with no gift at all? OMG, not the idiot. Return the gift. Get your money back. But first, get a picture of it and send it to her after the fact to show what her childish behavior cost her. Leave it to your husband. It's his mother. Let him deal with her childish temper tantrums. I can't believe a grown adult acts so immature over her birthday. I did this too. Huge weight off my shoulders. My kids used to always get the short end of the stick. I got tired of it. My brother-in-law would tell us to buy a $100 toy that my niece asked Santa for. One year, they gave my kids hand-me-down costumes. As someone who has dropped buying presents for in-laws and told my husband, it's his job now, do this. It might be hard the first year, especially if you married someone who waits till the last second to buy a gift, but it feels so good after that to not have it hanging over your head. Ooh, I love that. I'd show her a pic of the purse and go, yeah, if you hadn't acted like a 4-year-old and stomped off to your room to cry, you'd have seen why it was a 2-in-1 gift. I returned it yesterday and then give her 2 candles, but I'm super petty like that. Your mother-in-law's behavior is beyond childish and absurd and well into lunacy. Stop catering to the crazy.